happen, and or when that'll happen, or if that'll happen, Anderson.
All right, Manu Raju, thanks. Earlier today, I spoke with a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Senator Chris Coons. Senator Coons, I'm wondering if the Judiciary Committee has received responses from either Donald Trump Jr. or Paul Manafort to the request that they come Wednesday.
Well, I don't know specifically, Anderson, whether or not the committee staff have yet heard a confirmation from Donald Trump Jr. and Paul Manafort whether they will come willingly next Wednesday. But the chairman, Senator Grassley, and the ranking member, Senator Feinstein, have both said now publicly that they're willing to subpoena them if they don't come willingly. So it's my expectation that we'll be seeing them next Friday. Next Wednesday.
Yeah. Do you agree with that approach, the idea of subpoenaing them if they don't come willingly?
Well, I think it's a way that the Congress has of ensuring that folks who we view as very important, very high-level witnesses come and testify. Obviously, it's preferable if they keep public commitments they've made and come willingly, but the Congress does have subpoena power, and I think it's appropriate to use it when necessary.
Has the committee requested any documents like emails from either Donald Trump Jr. or Paul Manafort?
My understanding is that, yes, there's been a fairly wide-ranging document request, but I don't know the details of exactly what documents have been requested.
If they in any way refuse, is that something also you would support subpoenaing?
Yes, it's my expectation that the committee would use its subpoena power, if necessary, to get documents relevant to the meetings and the relationships that we're investigating. I think this is an important next step for us on the Senate Judiciary Committee, and it's an important part of the Intelligence Committee's work as well, using Congress's subpoena power.
For Donald Trump Jr., is the focus just that meeting that we all now know about last June, or is it beyond that?
Well, speaking for myself, one of my main concerns is the meeting that Donald Trump Jr. had that was initially mischaracterized as a small and brief meeting about adoption. But over the next couple of days, it turned out was a much larger group, about 8 people, talking about potentially receiving derogatory information about Secretary Clinton from someone who represented herself as being a Russian official, someone on behalf of the Russian government. The email that's now been disclosed by Donald Trump Jr. Is quite challenging, quite intriguing. It raises more questions than it answers. And with Paul Manafort, the issue here is that he was representing interests in Ukraine that were closely tied with the Kremlin, and whether or not those were complicating relationships that played a role in decisions he made as the manager of the Donald Trump for President campaign.
And as you know, I mean, the New York Times is reporting that Paul Manafort was in debt $17 million to pro-Russia interest groups. I assume that will be of interest to people on the committee.
Any sort of complicating relationships that Trump's campaign manager may have had with Russians, with Russian creditors, or with Russian leaders would be of interest to the committee.
Do you know, is the committee going to be bringing anyone else from that meeting in Trump Tower into the committee to testify?
I don't know that, but my expectation is following Wednesday's testimony by Paul Manafort and Donald Trump Jr., we may well expand the request to have before us in sworn testimony several other participants in that meeting and several other folks who could shed more light on the complicated relationship between Donald Trump's campaign manager and Russian interests.
Senator Coons, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Anderson.
Well, up next, this past spring, Kushner Companies, the family business once run by Jared Kushner, apologized for using his name and his White House connections